Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the patch that came alongside Olympia. And this was a massive patch. Not only did they redo the ranking system, not only did they redo the menu for the stage picks, not only did they add a new character, but they also just changed a lot of general gameplay stuff. So let's go over this first before we get into the characters. Use code ProofBlock as well before I forget. So you can no longer floor hug non-tumble attacks while in parry stun. You can no longer floor hug non-tumble attacks while in flinch state. Successfully floor hugging non-tumble attacks will now cause the character to flash blue. I like that, just making it a little bit better. Attempting to floor hug but falling will now cause the character to flash red. I really like that. Failed indication of that. I think it's super cool. Successfully floor hugging non-tumble attacks will allow you to floor hug by holding down without another timed input for the next 20 frames. Many aerials have had their startup produced, and I think the goal of this is just to make them better as options out of shield. At least that's what it says right here, and I think that's kind of the game plan that they had, just looking at the moves that they ended up changing. The environmental collision box, I'm going to cut myself off because I explained this part really badly, but the TLDR of it is you're going to be able to do aerials lower to the ground now, and the tech window is also going to be a little bit different. It just relies a lot more on what the character is actually doing instead of where the character is. I think beforehand, if a character was doing an aerial really close to the ground, if that character's height, based off like the aerial doing, like let's say they tuck their legs a little bit, but that height is still ground level, then that aerial would just get canceled and they would be on the ground. Now I think that that aerial will be able to be finished, and then they will actually land. It just makes it so the lower aerials that you're doing to the ground, where maybe you're like kind of pulling the bottom half of your body up, you're actually going to have those coming out in full effect. I think this is going to be one of those things that you're just going to have to see in game, the full implications of it, but I definitely like the change overall. Whenever you're aligning something to make it look more so how the hitbox or the animation looks, I think that's always a good change. Then you're going to have run stop can now be canceled into tilt attack. This is great. It was really hard to do so if you weren't a tilt stick player to get tilts while you were running. Now hopefully it's going to be a little bit easier to do that. Grab escapes that result from grabbing a player get interrupted will now be twice as actionable, or you'll be actionable twice as fast. So you're going to have double the amount of time basically to escape that scenario, get a raid from that scramble. Angleable attacks that were started with the right stick can now be angled. The right stick should have always been like that, but it's great that it is now pressing up or down within 2 frames of starting a forward strong will perform an up or down strong. I think this is mainly for people that do like AB strong attacks. Pretty sure this isn't going to have a ton of implication. Yeah, it does not apply for a strong start with the right stick. So if you're a strong attack stick player, it doesn't affect you at all. And then finally, double jumping will now cancel all velocity knockback, which is pretty big. I think the kind of big change that this is going to stop is sometimes when you were hit really hard, but it like took a while and you were able to jump, sometimes you would still die because like you would keep that momentum and then the jump would take you even further into the blast zone. Hopefully that's just never going to happen anymore. When you jump, you are going to be safe. And then of course, normal scenarios where maybe like you would get comboed or get sent too far from a combo, just making it so the jump heights are more consistent, I think is good. So overall, these changes are really good. Initially, when I read these crouch cancel changes, I thought they were a lot bigger, but it only is when they were in flinch, only in parry stun. So in those specific examples, crouch cancel isn't going to be as strong, which is definitely nice, but on average, you're still going to have crouch cancel acting effectively the same way, but now it's going to be indicated a lot better with this blue and red flash. I'm a really, really big fan of the blue and the red flash. It's also easier to just like auto floor hug stuff as well. But yeah, I like these changes. I think they're all in the right direction. Biggest one that I'm a fan of is easily the red flash change, but honestly, all of them are a big thumbs up from me. Getting into the character-specific changes, starting off with Zetterburn, and I know you're going to freak out by seeing these, but don't worry, they did nerf Shine. They made it so that neutral air has 1 less frame of startup, and up air has 2 less frames of startup, so Nair is going to be a solid option out of shield now. It already was. 5 frames is pretty good before. Definitely a solid shield option now, and then up air is going to be an even better advantage state tool. It was already one of the best ones in the game. Honestly, not really sure how I feel about this up air change, but doesn't matter because they nerfed Shine. Hallelujah. Uncharged neutral special hit stun multiplier has been changed from 1 to 0.9, and this is intended to nerf the moves confirm into up strong will perform directly below an aerial opponent. So in reality, this isn't really going to change that much for Zetter players. All of the combos that you were able to get out of Shine before, you're still going to be able to get now. It's just going to be a little bit more precise to do so, which is exactly what you need to do with a move like Neutral Air. Yeah, if you want to have one of the stupidest moves ever in a video game that just doesn't make any sense, that's fine, but I think that there should be balance with it. By making it an actual skill ceiling, I like that a lot more. So good direction here with Zetterburn. They also made it so that up special now has a hitbox in front of it while moving that could only hit projectiles. I think this is just like specifically to interact with the Kragg rock. Like projectiles hit him randomly when traveling. I would never see that as someone playing against or as Zetter. Maybe it's something that happened more common than I thought, but now it's not going to happen at all. So overall, I would say that Zetterburn is worse because of these changes. I do think that change to Shine definitely hurts him. Just makes Shine worse as a move, and that's his most important tool. But the upper change is nice. The neutral air change, you're going to have a better defensive option there. Overall, he's about the same. Next up is going to be Ranno. He only got one change. Big fan of it. It's going to be neutral special poison dart knockback being changed. So as a 0.1 to a 0.05, I guess, additive. And I am such a big fan of this. Effectively, what this does, and I'll just read the description, this reduces the hit stun applied at higher percents. For example, at 100%, the opponent's hit stun is now 18 frames instead of 21. This reduction makes Ranno need to throw multiple darts to get the same follow-ups he did previously, since each dart adds 2 frames to Ranno's advantage. So, if you want to go off stage and actually follow someone up with like a dart into like a forward air, dart into a neutral air or something, you might have to hit them with 2, maybe 3, probably just going to be 2 darts, which I think is a really solid change. It just makes the setup not only harder for Ranno, but he also has to have a little bit more prep time put in here. It's not a monumental change. Darts are still going to be effectively as good as they were before, but at those higher percents, you might not get the exact same confirms that you were getting. You are going to need to throw 1 or 2 darts. And if you're a Ranno player that's just winning in neutral, you're usually going to have 2 or 3 darts charged at your disposal. It's not going to be that big of a deal. You're just going to have to be a little bit more accurate. But again, making you try a little bit harder as the Ranno player instead of just getting a dart into a free forward air. Now you got to hit 2 darts. You got to hit the charge. It's still easy. It's still really good, but it takes a little bit more as the Ranno player. And that's honestly all I can ask for. Next up is going to be Wrastor, and they made it so that dash attack is a little bit just different with the late and the early hitbox. I'm honestly not super sure. Not the late hitbox, the mid hitbox, I should say. I don't really know the full implications of this. I think overall this move is going to be slightly weaker, but not until like a higher percent. So at the lower percents, you really shouldn't feel it, and then at the higher percents, it's going to be a little bit weaker. I think that's what that means. And then you're going to have the mid hitbox have a little bit of an adjustment to the knockback angle. And because of this move's forward momentum or movement, the correct DI is usually inward, making this a strong DI mix-up, especially against higher gravity characters. These changes aim to increase the effectiveness of both inward and neutral DI, while also leaving opponents farther away from Wrastor at higher percent. So it just makes dash attack not combo as effectively. Hopefully not combo into Scraw, which is like the only kind of real complaint I have with Wrastor at this point. Like there's a lot of things you could complain about, but I think Scraw dash attack is the one thing that he just should not have at all. He might not have it at all here, or maybe the DI is a lot easier to escape it now. Either way, great changes to dash attack. And then they made it so that down strong can no longer land on the ground in the first active frame, and this ensures that Wrastor gets at least 1 active frame when using this move right above the ground. I didn't know anyone who was short hopping immediate down stronging, but if you were, I mean, hallelujah. Next up is going to be Kragg, and he got a little bit of a buff and a little bit of a nerf. They made it so that neutral air startup has been increased, and I know they did this for everyone, but to do this for Nair for Kragg is really, really impactful. Not only is his out of shield option better, but that's like his probably best combo tool, combo aerial. So this is definitely going to be a change that you're feeling as Kragg player. Forward throw rock now has a hitbox on release. I didn't know that it didn't, but now it will not whiff against blank or point blank opponents. You can no longer floor hug while holding the rock. I never did anyway. That was kind of like an honor system holding the rock. I'm not going to use any cheese mechanics. Rock throw startup added 2 frames. Hallelujah. Actually, I am very, very happy to see this. Now, again, it's just the rock throw startup. It's not the command grab itself, so grabbing the rock is still going to be slow, but you're going to be able to throw it quicker, which is awesome. This is where the nerf comes in, though. Neutral specials hit player window will now be canceled into a throw if Kragg pauses the auto throw zone after the first 5 frames. A lot of this kind of mumbo jumbo words going on here that I don't fully understand, but the TLDR is Kragg's high fall speed meant that he could throw opponents from far below the auto throw zone if he grabbed them while falling, often leading to a guaranteed KO regardless of percent. So I think this is specifically throwing to when people were using neutral special off stage and they were just using it to like quickly grab someone and then throw them straight down and they just die like right away. So now you're no longer going to be able to do that, which you should have never been able to do. That's a great change. And to compensate for that, they've given Cockroach though just a little bit more knockback, so it's a little bit stronger at higher percent. So you're not going to be able to rob people now with Kragg neutral special, which is a little bit sad, but you are going to be able to still steal their stocks like ethically now with Kragg neutral special. Once they get to 50-60%, you know, it's fair game at that point. And then finally, Pillar will restore opponents' resources when raising them up after hitting them. And this is just unfortunate for Kragg. Like, if you happen to get put in a disadvantage when you're raising someone on the Pillar, now you are extra screwed. So overall, these changes definitely make Kragg better. Like, this basically just affects his cheese, which definitely sucks. He's not going to have that now. But in compensation, Cargo goes a little bit better, Rock Throw starts a little bit better, and most importantly, this change to neutral air is so good. Like, I know most characters got it, but I think changing Kragg Nair specifically is one of the most impactful parts of his kit that you could have impacted. Next up is going to be Fleet. I also think she did really well in this patch. They made it so that neutral special will now heal 2% when eating food. This is just a nice quality of life change. It's not going to have a lot of impact, but it's always nice to heal. They made it so Force special can now be B-reversed. This move should have always been able to be B-reversed, in my opinion. And the fact that she can now makes it like a way better just as a tool to throw it in a neutral. You get a little bit more swoopment when you are doing so. They made it so that Force special Tornado will no longer destroy itself when Fleet puts herself into a tumble by pressing taunt in the air, which is, you know, I think that's a good change. Maybe it's the bait as a Fleet player, though. Like, they are pressing that top button for a reason. Down special landing window can now be ledge canceled. This is a really nice change. Just the movement of Fleet was already good on the platforms with up B. It's about to get really good and very annoying with this implication of down special. I cannot wait to see what Mystery Soul is going to do with that move. And then finally, they made it so that neutral air now has one less frame with startup, and the same thing with back air. And again, these are really important tools for Fleet, especially neutral air. That's going to be your main boxing tool. You're going to be throwing that thing out all the time. It was already your good out of shield option. Now it's your amazing out of shield option. So I think Fleet does really well in this patch. It's going to be benefiting from all of these changes. You're going to get slightly better frame data on some of her really important moves, and her movement is going to get not significantly better, but definitely better, especially if you're getting value out of this down special. And the really good Fleet players, they definitely are going to get value out of it. Next up is going to be Maypul, and they just shaved a frame off of neutral air and back air. Now, I wish they went the Zetterburn route where they nerfed something alongside these changes for Maypul, because she did not need these changes. Like, yeah, I get that you're making everyone better out of shield. Maypul does not need to be better out of shield. That's kind of like the whole thing, is that she doesn't need to shield as a character. She's the movement character, so I do think that they should have given her a nerf alongside these changes. She's already such an absurdly strong character. She doesn't need any more help, but also it's only one more frame on back air, one more frame on neutral air. The neutral air one, I actually think you might feel that because you do use that move so often, but it's not the end of the world. She's not significantly better because of this, but I don't think she should be better at all during this patch. She should get worse, if anything. Next up is Clairen. They made it so that jab can now cancel into tilts with the right stick when set to attack. Just a quality of life change, but very nice for our tilt stick players. They made it so that forward air now has one less frame. Same thing with back air, 2 less frames actually on back air. Really nice change for Clairen. These are very important moves for her to just be throwing out, especially back air in neutral to have 2 less frames on it. Like, you're absolutely going to be feeling that one. Down special plasma field will now be destroyed if the move is parried. That's interesting. I did not know that it wasn't destroyed. I honestly never see down B, so any way that it's getting interacted with is like, you know, whatever. It doesn't really affect the character that much, to be honest. Down special's plasma field will now destroy Zetterburn's flame puddle, Kragg rock shards, just all the stuff that it shouldn't have before. Nothing is safe in the Kragg or the Clairen down special now. So basically, down special is a little bit better, but you can parry it now, and it goes away. And back air mainly, also forward air, but back air mainly is stronger. Very nice change for Clairen. Absolutely going to benefit from that one. Next up is going to be Loxodont. They made it so that neutral air and up air are 1 frame faster. I don't think you're going to feel a ton of impact on this. The neutral air change might be nice when you're doing like drag down combos, but I think outside of that, it's not going to have a ton of implications. It's not like you were neutral airing or up airing people out of shield. And if you were up airing people out of shield, I mean, you're going to have a field day at this point with that extra frame. It's going to be even better. They made it so that getting hit during down special will only remove his molten charge if it's hit during startup. So it makes it a little bit easier to keep that down special when you are off or on stage for that matter. They made it so that Loxodont is getting a new victory line. And they changed some of the sound effects as well for the Dark Future Loxodont. So basically, they just changed it so that up air and neutral air have 1 less frame, and it's a little bit harder to get rid of all of his charges of down special. You have to hit him at a more precise timing. Not really super impactful changes, but at least it's not a nerf. Next up is Orcane, and they basically changed nothing with this character. They made it so that neutral special or down special droplets will now be destroyed in the bottom blast zone. So I really don't think that's going to affect his play at all. It's just like a quality of life change, maybe like a gameplay change. I don't think it's going to matter, though. You're not going to feel that one. For forsburn, you're definitely going to feel this change, though. They made it so that forward air now has 2 less frames of startup, but it also has 2 more frames of recovery. So this move isn't going to be more spammable, but it is going to be less reactable. It's going to be a better offensive option to just throw out there, Frame 4 is really, really fast. It's going to combo about exactly the same, actually, because it's 2 less frames and then 2 more frames at the end there. So in terms of comboing, how this feels to use, it should be the exact same. It just comes out faster now, which is obviously really nice for Forsburn. It already came out fast, but it's a race car. Now, they made it so that forward strong and up strong capes are now auto floor huggable. Honestly, I kind of thought they already were, but the fact that they are now, I think, is a pretty not big nerf for this character, but it's definitely a nerf to this character. And to compensate for that, they made it so that forward strong tilt cancel now starts 5 frames earlier. So he is going to be able to act out of that forward strong. If someone crouch cancels it, you might be able to get off a down tilt or forward tilt off in time before they manage to punish you. But it's not going to be as good as an offensive option now. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I think forward strong as an offensive option, unless it's used to like call someone out of the air as a jump, is pretty lame. It's still going to be solid, though, as an anti-air, like I said, in that exact scenario. It still covers a ton of space in front of forsburn. Still a very good move, but now in neutral, when someone's just running at you and you throw it out against them, it's not going to be as strong. And I don't think it should be as strong in that aspect. Like, a smash attack that also combos doesn't need to be a neutral tool as well. And the final character that got changes is going to be Etalus. They made it so that dash attack now is a hitbox in front that can only hit projectiles, so he just should be better against projectiles now, which I think is awesome. They're also going to have it so they've removed 1 frame gap between the active windows for forward tilt by adding in hitboxes, and this just makes it more consistent. I didn't even know there was a 1 frame gap. No longer a 1 frame gap. That's going to be awesome. They made it so that back air has 2 less frames to start up, and I think this is a really big change, honestly. I've always thought that back air was like an insane tool for Etalus, but there was just never really a reason to use it because neutral air just pretty much had the exact same niche. Now back air is going to be even better as just a poking tool in neutral, being able to throw it out, using it as a walling tool, even though the hitbox on it itself isn't that big. It just covers so much space like in front of Etalus, and if you do manage to get it possible up in the air, really, really nice combos into itself as well. So I think back air is going to be a tool that you see a lot more now in neutral. It was already a tool that you were going to see more in neutral. It was kind of the next step with Etalus, in my opinion, but it just absolutely helps that next step. They also made it so that forward strong final knockback has been changed, so it's a little bit stronger at higher percents, or I think it's just a little bit stronger overall. It doesn't say at percents here, so that's going to be very nice. You're also going to make it so that forward strong ice shard now spawn, or they lower the location where it's spawned to prevent it on whiffing against shorter characters. Not that big of a deal, to be honest. Like, it was very rare that you'd hit forward strong ice shards, but now when you do hit them, they should hit the lower characters. And then finally, get it special armor starts 1 frame earlier. This hardly matters at all. Like, 1 frame of a difference here might matter in one scenario, but at the end of the day, it's not going to make a ton of impact. But nice changes for Etalus, mainly this back air change. Amazing change for the back air. You're absolutely going to be loving this as an Etalus player. Should be able to get a ton of value out of it. And then the rest of the stuff is just, nice quality of life. So here you have it, the end of patch tier list. Orcane did not get changed. Maypul, I don't think that she should have been buffed in any aspect, and if she is going to get buffed, you should nerf her as well. And then for the good tier, just quality of life changes for most of these characters. Slight buffs to the frame data on some aerials. Really like that stuff, all the right direction as well. Like for the changes they made with forsburn, I think that's definitely in the right direction. Same thing with the Wrastor dash attack DI changes. I guess that's really the only thing they changed with him. And then finally, really like the change they made with Ranno dart, just so you have to be more precise with the darts. You don't take away necessarily from the value of the darts. If you're a good Ranno player, you're going to be able to get the exact same stuff that you're getting before. It just takes a little bit more precision, which I can absolutely appreciate. And then Olympia, they added her to the game. She's a ton of fun, really solid character, as well as a ton of like anything that you can want. Theory stuff, in practice stuff. She's got the whole ordeal. And with that, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the sport. It's been absolutely unreal. Like anything I left out, got wrong, or if you want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub while you're down there, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.